Hey, YouTube, let's do this.
Back to nature, climbing higher. Woods are thick, hiking alone. Hear a tree crack, loud as gunfire. Stops you cold, chill to the bone. Hear the growling, turn to howling. Something's prowling, just out of sight. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. The forest has fallen silent. The mountain's dark. The moon is full. Catch the black shape of a giant, 8 feet tall, unbelievable. Your heart is pounding, huge steps are bounding. Your hope is drowning in the fading light. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Oh, hell yeah. Run for your life. Step it up. Your fear is growing, red eyes are glowing. You might die knowing those both were right. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Beast in the
And hey, everybody, welcome to Squash Talk. I'm Pat. Where's the camera? Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Hey, here we are. Everything's working. I like it. Couple things I got to figure out, though. I'm muted? No audio, huh? Do I have audio? Okay. I'm being heard across the Sasquatch Nation. I do have audio. Yes. Okay. There's a consensus being formed on whether I can be heard or not. audio check. All right. The other thing I have to figure out how to do is, let's see. Boy, I don't know. I have no idea. So, if I'm gonna bring people in tonight, I kind of need to know how to do that. Let's try this. Let's take it out of solo. That might have something to do with it. Boy, no, I got no window. Maybe nobody's here. Okay. We'll see. So what's up? Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm like, I'm in a weird mood. I'm ready to talk Squatch. That's what's up. Glad everybody can hear me. But I need. Oh, okay. All right. Participants. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to bring people in because it's Free for All Friday, and I want people to show up and come in. So I don't know how to actually get them into the show, but we'll see. Lockbeard's here. I mean, what's up? What's up, everybody? Sharky, glad you're here. Sorry about the thumb thing, man. Dare I flip the phone around? Sorry, computer's down. Got a new, a different system I'm using, so. All right, I'm gonna try this. Let's try it. See what happens. Now I can manage off camera. Okay. I think that's good. I apologize to any new viewers. This is not a typical show. Like, usually I'm right in the pocket, but not tonight. Okay, so I've got that sorted out. What was that? A person. So what's going on, everybody? How you doing tonight? Anything going on? Any initial thoughts? Topical BF related? I don't know. I don't understand. What do you mean? What does that mean? I don't get it. Trackway. Explain. That's cool. I love being outside, man. Like, this is the porch where Squatch Talk started. Right here on this porch. I'm happy to be here. The guest will be Barb. What's up, Barb? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. The guess will be whoever I can get the damn link out to. So we'll see. Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different on a phone. Um, it's more complicated. I'll say that. But I don't even know, man. So like, I definitely need some feedback once that trigger gets pulled. We'll see. If not, I may have to resort to well, it doesn't matter. It's all about bringing people in. Appalachian. What's Appalachian what? Is Matt here? Quick guess. Copy that link. Yeah, no. It's all about bringing them in. I don't know where they show up. On my computer, they just show up below my, like down here. They just pop in. I don't know if that's the case yet or not. I sent an invite to Jeff, so we'll see. But he said he had to restart his computer, and so I don't know if he's trying to get in or not. I guess he'd be messaging me if he could. So yeah, I don't right now. I don't. Yeah, what's up, Leon? And yeah, I want you here too. I don't want to put the link in chat because I don't want the random, maybe like 5 people show up at once. Randomness of it. So I could do this. Oh wait, hold on. Wait. I just got a notification. Bam. And follow simple instructions, Pat. Did that work?
Did it work?
I think so.
Can you hear me now?
I do. How do I get rid of this? Oh, this is archaic. Bam! There you are.
You on your laptop or
No, I'm on a
cellular device?
I'm on an iPhone. Yes.
Mm. I started my computer up and it wanted to do about 20 minutes worth of updates, so I was in update jail there.
Well, can you? Shit. So this is probably easier for you than me. Can you forward the link to join to Leon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
And also, could you forward the link to join to the Russian free webcam bots? Could you do that too?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
There's to Leon. Who else you want me to send it to?
Well, send it to Brian.
Chat girl 7152, local hookup 5477.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's Russian bots though. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I go to forward and it says Leon Thompson, and then there was another choice, Neon Leon's Flower Shop. I don't even know who Neon Leon's Flower Shop is, but
maybe Leon.
Cool name.
Maybe Leon has a side hustle going we don't know about.
If my name was Leon and I owned any business, it would be Neon Leon's whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Appliance repair.
Mm-hmm. So I almost feel the need to apologize for not having a Halloween theme going tonight. I know some people had high expectations, I'm sure. No way in hell that was going to happen. I didn't even know if I was going to do a show today or not, like 2 hours ago. So
I look at it like if there's somebody in our community or circle that is adequately filling that niche to a point to where you may not be able to surpass it, you're better off just helping them and joining them than trying to do another one on your own. So, Nikki's going to do her thing Sunday night. It should be fun. She's got an awful lot of invites sent out, and last year was a riot. I'm excited to see what happens this year.
Sure.
My Monday night show, I've got a couple avenues where I might go down with some spooky stuff, but I'm certainly not going to dress up in a costume or try to make it a party of some sort.
Well, let's see. I'm figuring this out as we go, Jeff. Figured it out with you. I think I maybe figured it out with Neon Leon is here.
There you are. Joe might want to come on too, and Matt's probably looking for a link, I think.
Okay, I'll send it to them also.
Yeah, it's much easier. I'm going to use you guys as producers to send it to people because it's a pain in the butt for me.
So am I sounding okay? I'm on a new mic system, so I don't know if I'm glitching or not, or does it sound all right, or
what?
I think it sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. You go what to my questions? Like, okay, I do have a mic problem. Okay.
Is this
No,
thing
I'm
even
not.
on?
Yeah, does it work?
So, I'm hearing everything through a tiny speaker that's pointed away from me.
Oh.
I'm not used to that. I'm used to hearing everything right here to my face, and I have hearing trouble. I don't hear well, so forgive me, guys. It's not you, it's me. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got them sent out. I sent one to Matt, and I sent it to Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group. I don't know if that's the messenger he's on, but I seen that's what hopefully he finds it.
Oh.
Thump.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2.
I don't know. I'm not sure, Brian, if you understand that I'm going through technical difficulties. My computer's down, and I'm having to do this on an iPhone that, was just laying around the house. Basically.
So Pat, when you through StreamYard, are you able to go in and raise your mic level?
I don't even want to try. I'm afraid the podcast will shut down and hello, bougie. The federal government got involved, right? I'll get accused of that all of a sudden, being shut down by the man. Brian, you could jump in here if you want, man. Come on, Brian.
Lockbeard just made an interesting point with his word jumbles of Leon that you can spell Noel with Leon's
name. Great. Thanks. That started with
Leon,
Joel.
Elon Musk, who now, as of today, owns Twitter. Lone, Noel, and Leno. Elon Musk, Jay Leno, you're in pretty good company until you hit Noel.
Yeah.
Jeez, Lockbeard, how the hell do you work that all out in your head that fast?
His brain is like a computer that is.
Jeez, it's true that there might be some truth to that. Leon, what say you about this potential connection to? Listen, not Elon Musk. What was the other one?
Jay Leno.
What was the first one? I forgot it already. It was actually the most interesting one.
Leon, Elon, Lone, Noel, and Leno.
Noel. That's the one. That's the one. No, what is your connection to Noel, Leon? Do you mind being in the hot seat for a minute?
No, my connection is not with Noel, Christopher. It's with Christmas. Christmas backwards is what I say to people. My name is Leon. Christmas backwards, and they think for a second, and then they go, "Ah, okay." And then if they try to remember my name, then they'll think of Christmas, and then they try to put it together, and then it makes it stick in their brain better. So, what is going on with my laptop here? I'm having the same problems you're having. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Everybody's having problems.
Jeff, actually, you can send it to either or. I get it whether you send it to Western Bigfoot Investigation Group or my personal one, Joseph.
I figured it's set up like mine, exactly like that. If somebody sends something to Pine Island Research on Facebook, it just pushes it into my normal one. So
I hate that. I hate it when Facebook gets all pushy like that, though. You know, I mean. But hey, we're not talking about Bigfoot. We're talking about Twitter. We're talking about Facebook. I mean, I know that I am one of the biggest social media influencers on the planet. I get that.
Oh, absolutely.
But we don't need to go down that road. We don't have to talk about it.
I like how Joe has an auto response on Western New York Bigfoot. I sent the stream and it said, "Thank you for messaging us. We try to be as responsible as possible. When we have time, we'll get back to your dirty ass when it's convenient for us."
Well, I don't think it says dirty ass in there.
Oh, no, it doesn't. I made that.
That'd be interesting if it did.
You know, the shock value, the provocativeness of the Bigfoot community, Joe. You gotta work it in there somewhere, right?
Right.
Well, hell. Okay. Well, we got a group here.
I sent the link to Nikki too, by the way.
Okay. Well, it's a free for all. Absolutely.
Right. Well, that's what I thought. You said free for all, so I thought it's free. It's for all.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Somebody send Brian. Is anybody friends with Brian? Like, is it just me? Am I the only person in the world that's friends with Brian?
Brian who?
No.
Brian King Sharp.
Oh,
I think
I've got friends.
I'm
I'm friends with
part
him.
of that group, the
Did-
Sasquatch Odyssey podcast. But
Did you
Yeah.
see the show he dropped about an hour and a half ago?
Well, I was about to say, send him a link. He's in chat. He wants to come on.
Oh, I'll send him one. Let me send him one here.
hi, Jim.
Hey, Jay.
So, okay, this is interesting already.
Yeah, I figured since I couldn't pull off a show tonight myself, I said, well,
Okay, Brian, it's sent.
that's doing a show. Got to be
Well,
interesting.
why? What? I'm just curious. Why did you bail out of your own show, or decide not to do it?
Now he's froze up.
That's
Wait
the
for him to
federal-
thaw out and he'll answer that question.
That's the federal government getting involved right there.
Yeah. You know, the federal government, they knew Brian King Sharp's been sent an invite. We better shut this thing down right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there we go. I could see
There we
everybody
go.
in here. Well, I could hear everybody, but I couldn't say. No, the reason why I passed is because work, man. Work has just had me so freaking busy. After my fun little time last weekend, I'm back to hitting it about 6 to 7 days a week, and I just couldn't pull anything together in time tonight to have a show. So
Me neither. just kidding. Yeah, no, I get it, dude. Like that's why I do like a show every 3 weeks now. Is work. So it
sometimes
feels
real
good to
life
be here
gets in
with
the
you
way.
guys and be kind of casual tonight, actually. So I appreciate you guys being here, all of you.
Pat, do you have a headphone set you can put on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No,
does it probably pick your mic up better too? Because you sound like you're kind of in a tin can a bit. Maybe you are. I don't know. But
Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
kind of
that's
where
better. That's
I
better.
point my voice.
I think you are correct.
And yeah, I don't know where the microphone is. I can't see which end of the. Yeah, so I don't. This iPhone does not have a plug-in, a female receptor for the traditional old school earbud. It's it have to be like Bluetooth.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
I will try and speak up and be clear in what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, I was queuing. I was going to play the Ted Nugent "It's a Free for All" thing, but then I thought I don't really want to be the guy who
Crashes the show.
You know what?
gets you
It's copyright
demonetized
strike.
if you're planning on making $1 million on this show or something.
Well, I mean, have you seen the songs that I play in my intros? Like, I play the full song. You know,
Yeah, but Beast in the
they're
Night.
all
by Ernie.
they're all copyrighted material.
Yeah, but Beast in the Night is by Ernie, and you have his permission, right? So.
True, but I play Strange Animal. I don't have permission
Oh.
from. Yeah, like. Somehow I get away with it.
Well, damn it, Pat. You know, there's a lot of people out there who just assume that you make $1 million off of YouTube. I mean,
I don't. I make $1 million off of selling
Well,
Lamborghinis,
1.5 million.
at least. All right. So, hey, guess what?
So is 007 max powers?
I don't know, but we got.
'Cause we have
definitely got a
007.
free for all.
Oh,
We
hey, Brian.
What's up?
now it's an official free for all.
It's a party. I'm here.
We got feedback.
Feedback, back.
YouTube.
Oh, Jesus.
It's cool though. It kind of sounds like reverb.
It is kind of cool.
I can cause problems everywhere I go.
Then there's the other problem that Brian King Sharp has this perfect radio voice, so it has to be turned up louder than everybody else's to cut through.
It's just my ego. That's all it is.
I
I've
think
had a
he's working
cold,
on
so
it.
I sound like I'm talking through my nose.
Say that again.
Yep.
But am I
Your
still
volume,
reverbing?
your voice volume is way low, but somehow you're picking up feedback.
Interesting.
Yeah, now if you weren't on your phone, you might be able to go into StreamYard, Pat, and click echo cancellation or something and cut it out, but I don't know how you do it on your phone.
Well, I just
Oh.
clicked it for myself. How's that?
Up
Oh,
There it
feedback.
is.
Ah,
Yep.
There we go.
There we go.
I am a professional. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
Yay.
Yeah, you probably put out 10 times as many broadcasts as everybody else on this screen combined. So
I was going to say, what's it like being a professional? I just don't know.
I don't
how
think
that
so.
is. I mean, I don't know.
That's actually not.
I don't know
true.
what that feels like.
No, I think Pat is probably the one who's put out the most shows on by far.
well, I was just adding up all the podcasts and everything else that you put out there. It's almost scary. Not just YouTube shows, you know.
Yeah, I was just fighting with somebody on YouTube about the Todd Standing show that I posted today.
Oh,
Well, you
dear.
didn't expect
Doctor.
that not to happen, did you? I
Yeah.
mean,
It
right,
happens
you
here.
weren't 5 minutes into I was watching it. 5 minutes into it, people are like, dude, are we scraping the bottom of the barrel here and stuff like
Yeah,
that? It's
and
like,
I get it. I get it about. I certainly understand it about Todd Standing, right? But he is somebody in the Bigfoot community. Like, you have to have those conversations. You can't
I
just
would talk to
exclude
him.
them because you don't like them, right? Not everybody can be somebody that's liked or.
absolutely.
And I've called him out so many times as a hoaxer on the show. It is what it is. But
Me
No, I
and
would-
Pat have had conversations
Yeah.
over and over about who would you want to get as a guest if you could just get anybody. And in both of our top fives, Todd Standing's there. Not to crucify him and not to just pander to him, but to have a fair conversation
right. And the
You know,
only, to be fair,
and asking hard questions.
the only reason he came on my show is because I had Les Stroud on my show first talking about him.
Yeah.
And then once I had Les on the show, then he came on the show because I'd reached out to Todd months and months and months before I had Les Stroud on the show. And until Les came on and had the conversation about Todd, then Todd decided to come on. And he and I are friends outside the show. I mean, I've become friends with him, you know. He's not a bad guy. I think his videos are fake, you know. I mean, I just have to separate the two. Like, he's not a bad guy, but he's just fake. So I don't know.
That's an interesting position to be in. But yeah, I hear you, man. I don't fault you at all for having Todd on your show. I would have him on my show, so I can never say you shouldn't. If I would have that guy on my show in a heartbeat. You know,
Brian, it's really it's the Christian perspective of hate the sin but love the sinner, right?
Something like that, yeah. Because he's really not a bad dude. And I think if he did, and he said it on my show, if I did fake this stuff, it's for species recognition. It's for all these things. Right?
If I did.
If I did.
Yeah. Nudge, nudge, say no more. Yeah.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. If I did.
Yeah. Like, great.
And you know what? I don't doubt for a minute that if that were the case, that's his motivation. You know, so I wouldn't ever want to take somebody's motivation away from them. It's just about, you know, what's going on and what's real, what's not real. Right.
Yeah. Well, once you put stuff out there as real, you can't unring that bell. I've said it so many times on the show. You can't unring the bell of I've put this out there as a purported Sasquatch, and it's probably not. It's animatronics, or it's me in a suit, or it's my dad in a face makeup, or whatever the case may be. I don't care what your motivation is. You just can't fake shit around here. You know, it sets us all back when you fake stuff, and you know, motivation in the right place or not, you shouldn't be faking anything. So
thou shalt not hoax.
Brian, if I didn't have time to listen to the whole show, I listened to the first half, and I found it interesting. I'm excited to go back and listen to the rest of it because I found it interesting on how he was kind of diverting. I don't want to say trying to avoid the conversation of the hoax, but the diversion of there are now a group of people that know where this location is that are going to go out and try to kill one of these species. And he's saying now it's kind of me versus them, and you know, trying to flip the script on I'm not all bad. Look at, let me remove this cape. I got a good guy cape under here. I'm trying to
whatever
stop this from happening. And it's like, dude,
I mean, listen, I know the area he researches. I know it quite well. I used to live there for like 20 years. And it's like he makes it sound like it's like some special place. And that if it's not a special place, you can drive right by the place he's talking about. Like, and again, I don't know. I had problems with him a long time ago when, especially in this documentary, when he said about John Bender, and I'll go because I knew John, and also with Meldrum, when he says me and my colleagues, referring to John and Meldrum, I'm thinking those are PhDs. They are not your colleagues. You're not academically trained. You're not even close to being academically trained. I hear a baby in the background. Oh, that's Molly. Okay.
Another thing that Leon touched on is how this isn't that remote of an area, and one testimony to that is if you went to his website and looked at the outings that you can pay, I think it was $3,600 to go on. He has like 4 or 5 like mobile home type domiciles backed into this place that if it was so remote, how did you get those there, man? I mean, did you big military helicopters drop these in or what, you know?
So wait a minute.
Like a month or so ago, and I was going to go up on the expedition. I couldn't work it out with my schedule. So I want to do it. I want to go up there and see what he's all about, because I don't doubt, and I've said it so many times on my show, I don't doubt that he's had these experiences that he's claiming. You know, this kid Kyle that's doing this Discovering Bigfoot podcast, Kyle called me last night, and he's had experiences on expeditions with Todd. So I don't doubt that they're having these encounters on some level. I just doubt the evidence that he's putting out there as being a reported Sasquatch on video.
Well, the thing is, where he's at is saturated with other squatchers, like Alberta Sasquatch organization. That's their area as well, and Justin, that's his area as well. And again, it's the narration you got to watch out for, because you're watching a video screen online here, and you think everything that you're hearing in the narration is trustworthy, and the problem with that is it's not trustworthy. And I mean, I don't like being a jerk or anything, but I deal with cults and going under investigation with cults. So you have to drink the Kool-Aid to get the influence, to get credence, to get in there. You only have a certain amount of time before they recognize you're one or the other. And his whole thing, I know if I went there, well, first of all, I know the area really well. So I'd be just shaking my head going, and I think that was the other thing too in that documentary when he's trying to convince John Bindernagel, well, this is Sasquatch, and John's and he's saying this is Sasquatch, doesn't explain why it's a Sasquatch, but it is a Sasquatch. But John rolling his eyes back because he's trying to be fair, because John's was a great guy, and he was just good-hearted, honest guy, kind of guy. And then you have somebody like Todd who's interested in promoting his business. And again, it's not just that, the other thing you guys are talking about, it doesn't help the process out for us who are kind of serious about this topic. But the other one is quit bringing dump trucks and dump trucks and dump trucks of stuff we've already seen back into the viewer's mind online, because it just clogs up the feed again. And then Nikki has to show on her show, okay, 18th time this one's been circulated. It's like, oh my God.
So Tracy was asking, just to clear this up, if you wanted to hear this show that Brian did with Todd Standing, it's on. Brian is one of the guests who has a show on the Untold Radio Network along with mine. Brian's is typically dropped on Friday nights, right, Brian?
Yes, every Friday.
At around it'd be around 6 Eastern, is it? Or roughly around then?
Give or take, yes.
And on Monday nights. And the Untold Radio Network you're going to see everything there. Look, there's going to be some show talking about Dogman. There's going to be Mysterious Library where Dr. Dean Bertram, Jason McLean's talking about a book that was wrote 3 years ago by somebody. You're going to hear all different topics talked on different shows, except some of them have a little narrower focus. I simply talk about Bigfoot encounters and Bigfoot research. Brian's, you've got a podcast that started out in you have one that focuses on paranormal, you have one that focuses on Bigfoot, some different areas that you look at.
Yeah, Sasquatch Odyssey is very much like your show, like Pine Island Research. It's all about encounters with Sasquatch. The paranormal stuff is a little different. It's a little out there with UFOs, Dogman, other things like that. And I do a true crime show as well, True Crime Odyssey. I was a cop for 16 years, so it was kind of a natural progression for me to end up starting a true crime podcast at some point in time.
You just recently dropped that one too, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, the one that you're talking about is on the Untold Radio Network. It was up. Alex uploaded it today, so it's
called Mysterious Encounters. Is Brian's show on
Weird Encounters?
Or Weird Encounters? I'm sorry, on Friday nights.
Okay,
So
Mysterious was too hard to spell. So we went with weird.
Yeah, good.
Clarification here, Leon. Now that I've broke bread with Dr. Meldrum and he's finally going to come on one of my podcasts, do I get to refer to him as a colleague?
Yes. Well, you actually met him on the weekend too, right? So yeah. As soon as you see the guy,
I mean,
even if you see him on TV, you can call him your colleague.
I don't have a PhD, but I mean, is he my colleague now?
I think so. Yeah, we're all your colleagues, buddy. Come on.
No, I don't think so.
Drop names. That's what
I'm sure there's probably hairs to split there, Joe. If you ask certain people in the chat, they're going to say, well, you broke bread with him. He's an associate. To be a colleague, do you have to actually take part in some sort of an activity outside of I don't know. I would say you sit down with somebody in that community who has the same interests as you, and he accepts an invite to your show. Be
I mean,
hard not
I
to.
could
It's a
call
colleague. I mean,
I could call Leon a colleague. I could
Yes.
call probably Brian a colleague, and Jeff and Pat
Yeah,
and all
Meldrum
these
is
other
not.
people. But
Jeff
I-
Meldrum is not a podcaster. He's a guest on podcasts.
yeah.
So
yeah.
is So
And
colleague,
I'm also not a professor of anatomy and anthropology.
exactly.
So
So yeah,
Leon,
it's a bit of a stretch. If I may, real quick, just to be fair and set the record straight, Brian, this is Brian's first time on my show ever. I've talked to Brian. We've had conversations before, and I like Brian. I like his show. I like what he's doing. Yeah, I don't want Brian to come on my show and immediately be judged by the last show he did. He's a
No.
broader person than that. The meat and potatoes of what Brian does to me is the encounters. So he has people on who had real encounters, just like you did, Joe, and just like you did, Jeff.
I
right?
shared one of the first platforms
Yeah.
on social media that I shared my encounter was on Brian's Sasquatch Odyssey.
And I know that. I know that. I realize that. I don't know if Joe's been on Brian's show or not, but
no.
you should be. Like, if you want a good encounter,
Well, my
Joe's
feelings
got
are a
one.
little hurt, but hey, okay.
Hey, I would love to have you on the show, Joe. So we need to connect after we get off of here for sure. I'd
Then
love
you
that.
guys can be colleagues.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I just don't want
Let's
I
get
mean, I don't know if
badges.
there's some secret handshake that happens now or something, but
Friendship
Yeah, right.
ribbon. We'll all wear friendship ribbons. That's it.
Yeah.
Leon calls us all his patients or test subjects. We're not
No,
really
no.
Yeah.
You guys use me as your therapist. I'm not your therapist. But I seem
well, let
to
me
use
tell you something. Telling your encounter is a lot easier in this venue than it is in front of live people because when I was at the expo, Steve Culls ambushed me. I had no idea he was going to do this. So they had part of it that was like a town hall meeting part where other people got up and were able to tell about some encounters or some experiences they had. And this girl was speaking, and Steve waves me over and he goes, "Hey man, I really want you to get up there and tell your encounter."
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm like, whoa, dude, wait a minute. I didn't know. No, man. I don't think so. He's like, "No, come on, man. You can do it. I'm here. I got your back, man." And then, of course, I got Mike Ann from Tactical Bigfoot Research doing the same thing, going, "Don't worry, man. I got you too, man. I'm right here. I'll be right next to you." And I'm like, so these guys, I mean, I know these guys are picking up the vibe. I'm good on a podcast. I'm not good at public speaking. I get real nervous. And so it's a lot different, man, when you got and the place was packed. It really was a well-attended expo. And the place was packed, and I got all these faces looking at me, man, and I'm like real nervous. And I mean, just telling the story, it brings out some feelings, right? And these guys are sensing that, that it's going to be hard for me to relive this again, So, but yeah, there's a total difference. I mean, telling it on a podcast is a little easier because I don't have to actually look at and see how many people are there paying attention to me. In public,
I'll tell you,
all these people who are paying attention to me, and it's a little nerve-wracking for someone like me.
For Brian's podcast, what's really interesting is, and I think it made it a little bit easier, it being one of the first times I had shared it, is that I was on my phone with my earbuds in, and Brian does a sound check and says, "Go ahead," and 35, 40 minutes, take people on a journey, just talking to them. There is no look at me on camera. There is no nervousness about feeling like you're doing it live on a live YouTube stream.
Mhm.
Because when we were done, if if something didn't sound right, or I say, you know what, I don't like how I don't think I explained this properly, just do it again or patch in that spot. I mean, it was pretty relaxed, and I would encourage anybody who's had an encounter that's thinking about sharing it, but they don't want to get on a camera, they're a little nervous about doing it live. I think Brian had a venue to do that real well for somebody who's doing it the first time.
I appreciate that, Jeff. I'll pay you later.
I'm sorry. I thought it very important because it immediately went to his last show, and I'm like, no, that's not fair to Brian. You know, Brian he's a more encompassing, like deeper show. It's not about one guest that Brian's ever had, which is his last guest. You know, Todd Standing, that's great. You had a conversation with Todd, good. I'll watch it too. That's fine. But you know, Brian's been around. He's been doing good shows. So just wanted to be fair. I really wanted
we're
to be
about
fair
200
about
and I think that was episode like 225 I posted today. So there's a lot more out there than just Todd Standing. So
yes, I agree. There's more depth there. And now you're here, and I appreciate you being here, man. I'm glad you wanted to come on, you know. And you know, we have free for all conversations on Free for All Friday, so it can actually go kind of where it goes. So,
and it can go south sometimes instead of north.
It can, but I have an in button, so
that's true.
Well, I'm glad that Brian came on, because inevitably, whether he did or not, the conversation would be, holy shit, did you just see Todd Standing did an interview with fill in the blank? It could have been any show on YouTube other than Todd Standing show, and people would have been talking about it.
Agreed.
You know,
yeah.
Todd's fans would have been talking positively about it, and the rest of the world probably wouldn't have. But, you know, I think from Todd's perspective, I get why it was a little bit easier for him to agree to do it, because Les had done it. And within the first few minutes of the show, you can see where he kind of leverages that, name drops a little bit. He talks about, well, when I was out there with Les, you know, it was so, you know, like he's playing off of that endorsement that I don't know that Les would be giving him if it was split screen and Les was there. But, you know, I don't think he could have asked for a fair chance to talk someplace that he doesn't control the atmosphere, you know. But
dude, again, like, yeah, Todd's an interesting guy, and there's a lot to unpack. I don't want to make the show about Todd Standing because Brian just had him on. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we could if you guys want to, if everybody agrees, but like, I don't.
Who's your next guest, Brian?
Corner, man.
Well, let's talk
about your next guest.
Let's talk about somebody I just had on that I thought was really, really interesting, and I want to kind of get you guys' take on it. I was really on the fence about the Paul Freeman footage. For years, I was on the fence about the Paul Freeman footage, and I just had Michael Freeman on to talk about his new book.
Right.
And that show aired. Normally, I put the show out on Friday, but I was a little excited, so I put it out yesterday. So it came out yesterday. And the conversation with Michael was really interesting. And I tell you, he sent me an advanced copy of the book. It's awesome, right? He's still editing it. It'll be out, hopefully, I think, like 2 weeks to print, he said. But everybody needs to pre-order it now. You can save like $10 if you go over to Hanger One Publishing and order it now. It's a big coffee book, or a coffee table style book with tons and tons of stuff that's never before seen pictures, and there's going to be audio and video that people have never seen before. But the main thing that I wanted to talk to Michael about was this advanced or enhanced footage that Doug's been working on for like 20 years. He has stabilized and enhanced this footage of what Paul Freeman captured, and they sent it to me, and I watched it 2 days ago, and I was astonished, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I was astonished at what I saw, because the original is 400 pixels. It's grainy. It's an old camera. It's back in the 90s. But I'm going to tell you what Doug has done with enhancing and stabilizing this stuff. You can see this thing walking over and picking up a baby Sasquatch off of a tree. I was blown away. So I don't know where you guys are on the Freeman footage as it stands now. Like I said, I was on the fence about its authenticity, but
I was the
well-
same, Brian. And then a couple weeks back, I spent quite a bit of time talking to Michael about it. Once I knew that he was coming on Doug's show and on your show, was asked him about his book, what he was going to have in the book. It sounds like it's an interesting book to get online through Hanger One because there's these interactive features where you see those videos and recordings and stuff that you don't in the hard print book when you buy it. But one of the things that interests me was he started talking about growing up, all these conversations that he had with his dad that, nobody really hears about. He talks about how you couldn't hear his dad talk about the footage with anybody without his dad completely laser focused on when this thing walked. You could not see it like doing foot placement up and down. It moved so fluidly and so like with this liquid movement. And he says, that's the one thing that sticks with me is every time I heard him speak to anybody, that was the only thing that he could really reiterate was he just was blown away at how smooth it moved. And, you don't really hear that. So now I get, when I would talk about the Paul Freeman footage, I've always said in the past, I think the PG footage is real. I think there's probably a half a dozen others that I'm not going to say are 100% real. There's some percentage where I'm just not sure about it, right? And the Paul Freeman footage always fit in that category for me. It could be, but it just ain't conclusive, right? But when I seen what they redid with it, and I've had these conversations with Mike, I'm still not. No, I don't know if I can say 100%, but I'll tell you what, I'm over 90 that it's probably real.
Well,
Yeah.
Here's where I'm at with the Paul Freeman thing, and I don't mean to sound harsh or anything. I was on the fence about it myself for a long time. Still kind of am in a way, but this is the basic. This is the way I think about it. Okay, because of supposedly there's some alleged admittal of some hoaxing he may have done or something like that. Well, first of all, whether that's true or not, Paul Freeman is deceased. So he won't be doing any more if he did it at all. And also, even if that is real, fine, then it's a real Bigfoot. But I already knew Bigfoot were real. So, I mean, I don't really have much to say about the Paul Freeman footage other than if it's real, fine. I already knew that they existed. And if he's done anything in the past, well, he's not going to be anymore. So, I mean, that's where I'm at with it myself. Oh, and I will mention that, like what Jeff said, there may be some others out there that could, I'm not sure about. And I don't want to talk out of class here, but Meldrum actually showed me something on his phone that somebody sent him that apparently he's not quite sure about himself because, well, if he thought it was not real, he would be like, no, this is fake. But he's got some pretty good video that somebody showed him of the same type of thing, kind of something that's, I don't know. It looks like it could be one picking up a youngster. So, but again, not real sure about it. Not sure, what he thinks about it, other than that if it was fake, he would say that it was probably, in his opinion, fake. Just like he would say something about the Freeman footage if he thought, it was fake. He would say, well, it's fake. But,
Well,
I get where you're coming
Wait. I want my turn.
Neon Leon wants to talk, so I'm going to shut up and let Leon talk.
Thanks. Brian, have you talked to Thomas Steenberg at all?
I have not, no.
Okay, you might want to have him on your guest
Good.
and ask him the same
Definitely
question.
have him on your show
Because he knew him quite well. And so he can kind of give you an insight, and that's kind of the key part. We're all speculation. I don't know. I never met him. I don't know anything about him. I could probably read his body language on some of his videos, but I think if you had Thomas on, if you need his information or contact, let me know.
And Thomas is he's one of the few people left at a decent age who also like really like knew or met the Four Horsemen, like
he knows them all.
Yeah.
So he's like a archivist in regards to
He's like
knowledge of
firsthand
Sasquatch.
historian
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, and so, and he'll tell you certain things, and his comments about Freeman is that he's a guy that you would just love to meet. He's just a really nice guy. But Thomas talks about Ivan Marcus syndrome, which is somebody who's seen a Sasquatch and then they go into this kind of a hoaxery kind of thing and stuff. So he can give you some other details maybe about the story and stuff like that you might find good for your channel, first of all. But he's just I always bug Thomas to say, I can't believe you're not an alcoholic by now after being online or being in this for 42 years, because God, I almost feel like I should become an alcoholic just to deal with some of the stuff I deal with. But he's just a good guest to have on, and you talk to him about anybody and he'll give you backstories. And
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer of a guest for a show.
Yeah, and he's
I'd definitely love to have him. He's been on my short list for a while. I'd love to have him on the show. And to Joe's point, I get if it is real, it's real, right? But I think I wanted to go a little deeper with Michael on his dad, because I think a lot of people don't know the backstory that this guy spent 15 years boots on the ground researching this, right? And he's probably single-handedly, in some opinions, may have set Jeff Meldrum on the path that he's been on for the last several decades, because he actually showed him a trackway that Jeff was like, holy shit, like this is a real thing. And it sort of changed.
That was the Blue Mountain, right? Trackway.
Exactly. It sort of changed Jeff's trajectory in life. And he is where he is today. And some would argue, that Paul Freeman definitely played a hand in that. So I think there was a lot more to dig into there than just that 8 or 9 minutes of footage. And that's what it really came out in the interview with Michael. And, I left a believer, I'm about with Jeff, I'm about 95% there that it's a real thing as far as his footage is concerned.
Can I ask you guys something? And this is kind of an elementary question that I'm not asking this to try to prove Paul Freeman's footage one way or the other. But if we were collectively to get together, have a few beers, and come up with the stupid idea of actually hoaxing a video, and we went and got everything we needed to do it, doesn't the project already being hard enough that we're going to undertake, especially back then in the 90s? I mean, we don't have CGI and stuff that we can do this with. We have to actually film something that we're going to try to present as being a real. And if it was going to be a hoax, would we want to incorporate the idea that we're going to have one pick up a young one? Because in my mind, you've just made what you're trying to do twice as hard. You could have just filmed the one without a juvenile in it, and it had a lot easier job at doing it if your intention was to hoax. And that's the thing that concerns me as to when I'm saying, well, what makes me think that it could be a hoax, or what makes me think it isn't a hoax, is why the hell would you try to do it with two of them instead of one of them?
Well, I'm hesitant. I agree with
Around
Matt.
the horn.
I agree with Matt.
You're first, Leon. Go ahead, answer the question.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Matt knows about film, so I'll let him. He's working on a project right now with regard to Bob Giblin's film, and he's got a camera that's similar to that one. And he's going to try to get the original camera, and then he's going to do a play because I'm still out on that jury in regards to whether that's legit or not. Especially with the amount of people that are in the forest trying to take a picture. I mean, what are the odds of 55 years ago, somebody decided, well, we're going to go see Sasquatches, and there's a report and they get it on first shot? Oh my God. I mean, why isn't that happening more often than if it's that easy to do? But the other side of it is I haven't seen the film you're talking about from Doug yet. I'm sure he'll show it eventually. and we'll take a peek at it. But I don't like the idea of when you're talking about we're all at a bar doing it as an illusionist. You better believe I will make it over the top to the viewer because I have you controlled already. As soon as you come on my channel and you see the screen, I have now a narration, an audience captive. You're open-minded. You want to know information about Sasquatch. I could give you visuals. First, I would start off first, though, with doing auditorial stimulus to you to get you to start buying into the Kool-Aid I'm about to give you. And then I would expand the event. If you look at Rio Sasquatch, Utah Sasquatch, when he did the wallow, you can watch some techniques that he used in that to draw you in, because the problem with the brain is the brain's not designed to vet factual data. It's there to collect data, and it's going to go through the files of the person's brain, depending what your cognitive bias is, and that's the opening door to get information into you to buy anything. And if you're an ex-officer, Brian, like you said, you know the game, and I mean, I'm also trained in body language. So when I'm reading people and stuff like that, boy, there's some really convincing storytellers that are out there. And you have to know what you're not looking for that should be, or what you're looking for that's not present, to recognize those people, especially narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. So, that's the problem for a guy like me. I mean, I don't know if you heard my story, but I mean, I'm a guy who saw a juvenile Sasquatch on the back of a moose. Who's going to tell that?
Well, that
story,
has to
right?
be bullshit.
Yeah, totally. And I deal in the mental health field and deception and belief systems. So, I don't readily want to tell anybody that story because it's like, what are you drinking? Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not. I think most of us are frustrated sometimes too, because if we are trying to do good research, it's not just about hearing stories, because after a while you hear the dump trucks of stories. And if you don't know how to vet it, you still have to sift through all the dump trucks to see if there's anything inside of the story that there's something tangible there for somebody to.
I wish you would have got video footage of your encounter, Leon, because everybody would be saying,
No,
that's
I
bullshit,
don't wish
it's a
that.
hoax. And I'd be
Well, were you
going,
like 5,
how did
Leon,
you
or
get a
something like that?
monkey on the back of this moose to film it? I mean,
Well, it's not on the back of the moose. It was smaller. It was like a toddler, and it was on the neck of the moose where the hump is and the neck.
still.
Well, duh. I mean, yeah, but we're talking. I'm 59. That was 50 years ago. Oh, it's almost the same as the
As a
Gibson,
little
the
kid.
Giblinton
You'll be
video. It
carrying
must be
around
real. It
video
must be real.
at 9 years old.
But I don't look back on that event to make me want to look for Sasquatch. Like, that's my key thing. Oh, that makes me want to look for Sasquatch. What makes me want to look for Sasquatch? I can't explain the prints. And that's part of the problem I have with the Freeman, is when I look at the prints and the prints are in motion and I'm on track, I'm able to read tracks and tracking, I don't see the energy distribution I would see of a Sasquatch moving on those tracks. And I think, if I'm not, I just got to the hospital for 6 months, so my brain's still repairing itself. But I think there's a story with Meldrum that he was also saw some fake tracks. Is that correct, Joe? Am I remembering that correct? And so, I mean, I like things that are tangible. I have incredible patience to weed through dump trucks, and I'm very patient. But I don't, honestly, I've mentioned a few times, if you give me 2 good audio or 3 good audio equipment people, because I can use that, and then 3 good people, I can give you a good Sasquatch video that everyone would suck it right back as if they were breathing air, because of the priming of the narration that I can offer. Your brain can only handle 3
and
good
also him
questions.
showing Meldrum tracks that he found that are fake really isn't evidence that Paul laid them. He could have came across tracks that, I mean, there were people faking trackways.
But again, this is the same video that it shows the thing off in the distance. So, but there it is. So, I'm looking at,
it gets so convoluted though.
You can't.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I will
I
tell you
mean-
though that Meldrum was quite convinced about the Blue Mountain tracks. That he's been very clear about.
Yeah.
In private, he's been very clear about that. And also, I just watched something that I'd never seen before. And of course, it's on Tubi. They have a lot of Bigfoot stuff on Tubi all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But again, he mentions the Blue Mountain tracks in there. And he again reiterates he was excited about it because with those tracks, he could actually see that there was movement. There was a dynamic to the tracks that said there's no way these were just made with some crude stompers, et cetera, et cetera. So he's been very clear about that with the Blue Mountain tracks. And I agree now with Jeff. Jeff, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, you would think that, adding something in like picking up a kid is just making it even harder. But I don't doubt that there are some real dedicated hoaxers that would do something like that just to try to make it more convincing, more real. For example, the Independence Day footage where you got the Bigfoot female or whatever. I don't know if it's female.
No, it's
Picking
a
up
male.
the
Actually,
kid
that's the weird thing too.
and
It's a male.
running.
Picking up
But
the female.
I'm pretty convinced that Steve Coles did a pretty good job of pulling that one apart, and I don't think it's real. I gave it a fair shot when I first saw it and thought, holy shit, man, if this is real, wow, this is really great. But I think he did a good job. So I don't put it beyond some hoaxers to be dedicated enough to try to do that. And to answer Kaiju Ninja's 1985's question to me, the footage that Meldrum showed me, how clear was it? Well, it was clear enough. I mean, I did not see facial features. This subject was in the tree line, but what you could tell in that footage, it was clear enough to very obviously see this thing, whatever it was huge. It was taller than most people, I would say, and I would give it probably the 7 to 8 foot range. It would have to have been a basketball player, at least. And you could also see it clear enough to understand that it was not wearing clothes, and it just didn't look like a costume. There was no bagginess to it. There was no, like you could see the different anatomical details, like the arms, which were very long. The legs were pretty long. And you just wouldn't, I don't believe, and that's not to say that I'm totally saying that this is a 100% actual video of a Bigfoot picking up a child, but I don't think you'd be able to do that with a length of arms on this thing. I don't think you'd be able to do something like that with those prosthetics that
If they
use,
were extensions, yeah.
gorilla suits and stuff like that. So,
So,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
I don't want to be a devil's advocate here too. It's just your key part is always try to prove it's not a Sasquatch. So when you talk about, well, why would someone make it so elaborate? Well, they would pick up a baby. Well, because first of all, he got caught hoaxing, so he has to up the game to make sure that whatever he shows is going to be more palatable. I'm not saying he's done that. Okay, make sure people understand that. I'm just saying that when you're looking at, if a person is unlimited when it comes to the deception, so they can do lots of stuff that that makes it seem good to get the story covered, all their angles. And, Brian would know this, is you always ask them to tell the story backwards to see if everything lines up, and usually it won't line up. So, but I mean, I like the footage. The footage is one of those ones too that makes me go, huh? But same with the one you were talking about there, Joe, with the baby and the rocks. That one made me go, oh my God, look at that! Showing all those ones. Or the better one was the one of this red cedar Sasquatch, with the guys that are the Sasquatch that's in a band kind of thing. That was great footage, man. That's a funny thing. The hoaxers are doing better than us who are taking pareidolia pictures, clear pictures of a hoax or video of a Sasquatch than the actual Sasquatch kind of things.
I'm excited to see that video get released. So the one that me and Brian have seen
Yep,
that was
totally.
redone. And I only say that because when you think back to the original PG footage and you think, well, first of all, nobody had really been hoaxing up until it. So you didn't have that to battle with, right? It was shock value, right? Like, holy crap, somebody got one of these on video. They didn't think, hey, is this a hoax right out of the gate? And each time somebody further did image enhancement, stabilized it, this and that, it got easier to say, wow, look at the muscle movement. Wow, look at, there are no seams of a suit. Wow, there, and it got better and better. I think that footage has progressed now, unfortunately, to a point where all it is still frames that are artist canvas to paint hairs that aren't even originally there, trying to, you know, because I've seen that in these Bigfoot groups, these artists that are like airbrushing even more hairs onto the face and stuff. It's like, I think that the Freeman footage, although some of it was cleared up, I don't know that it ever went through that and that enhancement, so to speak, legitimate enhancement, not like it has with this video and this stabilization and what that Doug did. So
Randy's asking if Freeman ever got the satisfaction of having known there was a baby in the video, or was that discovered until after his death? No, he knew it was there. If you listen to the original video, he says, whoa, there's two, when this thing's picking this thing up off the tree. He saw it in real time. But as far as knowing that it was showing up in the video, he didn't know that until Doug actually discovered it in the video and said, hey, you got this on video. This thing's picking it up off the tree. Now, I don't know where he got in the enhancements, and I don't know what Paul got to see before he passed away when Doug started working on the enhancement part of the video. And Cliff Barackman has independently been working on enhancing the video outside of Doug Highcheck. So there's two people that are pretty prolific in the community that have been working independently to enhance the video and come up with different ways of sharpening the image and taking a closer look at it. So, and as I want to go back to, I've got to jump off in a second and go have dinner.
Go ahead,
Brian. I want to talk about the fake footprints and some of the hoaxing stuff. We talked about that on the show with Michael, and he makes no qualms about it, that there are fake footprints in the Blue Mountain cast collection of 45 or 50 foot castings that they have. His dad cast a lot of footprints. And Michael's point to what Jeff was saying, it doesn't prove that his dad went out and faked these. Why would you go out and fake the footprints and then cast them and then add them to these other casts that they look nothing like, right? These fake casts stand out on their own. And there's tons of people, you know, Jeff Meldrum and I talked about that. It's important. I've had Tom Powell on the show, and Tom Powell and I have talked about it's important to cast the fakes, right? Because it's all data. You learn just as much from the fake cast as you do from the real ones, because it tells you what people are using. It tells you what people are looking at to fake these things. So it makes it a lot easier for people who are doing the real research to find out if it's a fake or not. So, you know, again, I don't have a real dog in the fight in the Paul Freeman camp one way or the other. But I can tell you, like Jeff said, after having the conversation with Michael and seeing this footage enhanced, I'm about 95% sure that what Paul Freeman was doing was legitimate, and I'm not sure that he faked anything, to be honest with you. But
well, and he may or may not have. I don't know that you could conclusively in a conversation, or we will ever be able to prove that he faked something or didn't fake something. One thing you touched on earlier is some of those casts from those Blue Mountain prints are what set Meldrum on the path that he's on, because they clearly showed a mid-tarsal break. They clearly showed actually dermal ridges in some of those. And that's where Meldrum signed on and said, look, maybe we can't say they're all real, but these ones right here are the real deal. And
there's the Wrinklefoot cast. You know, the Wrinklefoot cast are in the Smithsonian to this day. Grover Krantz went to his grave standing by those prints as being 100% authentic. So, as I said, guys, I've got to jump off. Pat, I really appreciate you letting me jump on and say hello to everybody. Jeff, Leon, Joe.
Yeah, man.
It's an honor and a pleasure to get to talk to you guys for a little bit, but I've got to go have some dinner. I'm going to be in the doghouse tonight. So,
well, thanks. Hey, thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming on. I'd love love to have you back, dude, and maybe a one-on-one, you and me talking about Buckhead. Yeah,
Anytime you let me know, Pat, it'd be an honor to come back, dude.
we'll just talk
Really
about
love the show.
Buckhead, and
That would be a fun show.
yeah,
I got lots
you
of
know what?
stories, man.
Yeah, dude, you know what? That would be a fun show. It would show the lighter side of both of us. Yeah, let's talk about Buckhead for 15, 30 minutes and Bigfoot for an hour. How about
We
that?
can do it. And Joe and Leon, I'd love to have you guys on the show. Pat, he's got
You know
my
where to
info.
find me,
Jeff's
man.
got
We'll
the
be in
info.
touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. You guys reach out. I'd love to have you on. Everybody have a great night.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for being on.
Brian.
Bud. Appreciate it.
Where's Matt and Nikki? How come they're not on here?
Well, Matt had sent me a message that said,
He's shy. He's doing his hair.
thanks for sending me the link.
He said, "Screw you guys. There's no Bigfoot in Georgia."
He said, I'm listening.
Uh-oh.
You guys seem to be okay right now. I'll hold off
Oh, come on.
for now.
Okay.
I don't know if he was waiting. I don't know.
Mm,
I think he should come on.
maybe. I have a limited amount of time left.
What do you mean, on your phone?
Yeah, low power.
Oh, that low
Not
power.
max
shit,
powers.
man.
Not max powers. Low power.
Well, you know, that's why I had to come up with martial law Bigfoot hunter, because I needed to come up with something that competed with max powers.
Yeah.
Max power.
Max is awesome.
So in our very short amount of time left, which is probably going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 20 minutes, I'll just say this. It's like, okay, that's interesting. The story, Paul Freeman, his son, wanting to validate his father, like, I get that. I kind of said this last night in my test, just chatting test. Paul Freeman footage moves the ball down the field. Zero. In 2022, anybody feel free to disagree. I'm just going to make that statement. Paul Freeman in the 1990s making that footage, let's just say it was a real Bigfoot. It moves the ball down the field. Zero.
Sure. And even if Doug's work that he's done on the video, if everybody saw it and it moved all them to 95%, it still doesn't advance the science.
And that makes me think, why is Doug doing that other than production value? Like, and I'm not being critical personally. I'm just saying that's a production move. That's not a move the ball down the field move.
Right.
Well, Michael's, I think, pretty open about sharing what he has. So
no, and I get that.
Tomorrow.
So that becomes a human interest story inside the Bigfoot community.
Sure.
Right.
That doesn't move the ball down the field at all.
Right. Well, just like
my back, 25 miles.
If I were to go out tomorrow, and I filmed an absolutely positively clear video of Rasta, would that be called moving the ball down the field? No.
Yeah,
no.
it would.
No,
Joe, it would.
Why would it be any different? Because
what are you going to learn from?
All I would be doing is showing people that I'm not fucking lying. That's all it would be doing. But how would it be moving the ball down the field?
Okay, because you just clarified it as an absolutely clear video, which we don't have.
Fair point.
So if you have an absolutely clear video, trust me, it's a real event that happens, and you actually film it, and it's absolutely clear. There is so much a fucking more percentage that will fucking get that than you understand. Okay. And I'm not talking about Bigfoot fucking people, bro. I'm talking about video professionals, wildlife biologists.
How many of those would actually believe it, even if it is clear?
Well, no. Think of it. Think of when Meldrum showed you that film on his phone.
Oh, the one on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and imagine if that was crystal clear. if it's got his attention, you got something. Again, everyone's expecting, like you and I think out of the four of us here are kind of the glorious, grayest kind of. I mean, you can still make it sort of as handsome and gorgeous and sexy in that, but
Well,
if
that's
you
a
had
given.
like, I agree with Pat. Is I don't think you have to have a bullet in order to prove it. I think if you, first of all, if you could learn how to track them, that would be helpful, and then if you could film them with the technology we have today, that would make it a big difference. And I think, like I said, I've seen photos, crystal clear photos, but I can't show them to anybody. I don't even have them in my possession. I know people who have them, and that they have them. I don't know, for whatever reasons, they don't want them sent out to anybody. And this has been like 6 years now, I think. But those photos there would make a difference. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there that, I won't say a lot, but there's probably a small percentage of people out there that have stuff that they're not going to show. I'm pretty sure that if I got a clear shot of Sasquatch on a video, I'm not showing the YouTube world. I'm not showing the Bigfoot world. I'm going to take it to the academics. I'm going to get them to take a look at it, not say a bloody word, film them, record them, and not even to give them an assumption of what I think it is. I'm going to let them do their business, if there's something there or not, because it still won't be enough for me if it turns out that I'm in a location for sure where they're there. It'll definitely impress upon me that the stakes are much higher that they are there. The next question is, why are they there? Are they just going through? Is it an annual thing that they're there?
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of other data that I have to collect. Be nice to have these so-called, habituation sites that everyone's claiming to have, but yet no one's filming them. Like, come on, like, really? I mean, if you got a habituation site and they're coming around and onto your barbecue and they're opening your barbecue and putting tools inside there that wasn't in there the day before, that's a Sasquatch? Yeah, come on. They're moving stuff around my railing. Well, let's see. I know squirrels. You live on an acreage. Squirrels love railings. And I know blue jays love railings.
I think one interesting thing that Meldrum has said is that if anybody, whether they're hoaxing or whether it's an authentic video, when you're looking at a video, the one thing it needs to have is clear visibility of footwork, the locomotion, because to him, the ability to see that foot being placed and see it being lifted is the one identifier that we are not looking at a human in any way. And I've seen videos out there where it shows it walking behind in tall grass or behind a bush. And right when you think it's going to come out, the video clip ends. It's like, come on, man. But
I disagree. I disagree with that. Sorry, Jeff.
First of all, Pat, I'm not saying that Meldrum, because I don't want to misquote him. I'm not saying that if it doesn't show it, you can't prove that it was real.
Right.
I'm saying that the
get that.
footwork is the one giveaway that we aren't looking at a human.
And I disagree with the one giveaway part. If a Bigfoot is properly filmed, it will completely show from head to toe proportion that's not human. It will show no clothing. That's not human. Not, it's 45 degrees outside. There's no clothing involved. Not human. It will show proportion. That, again, not human. So, fuck the foot. like, there's other things you can show from an observational standpoint on a actual Sasquatch that is clearly, undeniably, this is not a fucking person. It ain't a person in a suit. All those things can be ruled out before you ever get to the fucking feet. I think, Meldrum has a foot obsession.
Well, he's a professor of locomotion, so obviously that's his.
So he's stuck in his own fucking box. He's stuck in his own fucking box.
Yeah.
He's going at that angle, and I'm going from a way different angle of.
Well,
what if
it's his expertise, so what do you expect?
What if Joe just would have went and pulled out his iPhone fucking 8 and went record that shit would have been off the charts amazing. It would have blown the PG
Sure,
film
but it's still,
out of the water.
but
Joe
I don't know about
technically
that.
it
I think
wouldn't
it
have
would have
advanced
been
the
shaky.
science.
I think it would have been shaky at best.
Technically, it wouldn't have advanced the
You
science.
know,
and
it
I'll
would have
stand
been
behind
like,
that.
I mean,
it would advance the science in this way. The better footage you get, the more people you get on your side.
Sure, you'll get some you'll change some hearts and convince some minds, but no species has ever been recognized based on a video.
I agree. But I already have a primatologist named Erica, who's a 20-something young primatologist who admitted to me on air on a live show, not mine. She was like, admitted the PG film. She's like, it's a strange film. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't understand what I'm seeing. It's strange to me, but it's not enough to say there's proof of an upright walking undiscovered hominin.
Because they have nothing to reference to. It's strange to her because she hasn't. There's no reference.
can't
Saying, let's
wrap
see
her
if
head
it looks
around
like
it.
this one and that one and that one.
She's a hyper intelligent, very fucking smart person who is literally admitting, I can't explain that. She's not saying it's a guy in a suit. Oh, well, it's a guy in a suit. So we already have that level of we can get there. And she's there. She's like there with the PG film. Like she's almost there. So just imagine, like 10 times better will blow people's mind. And I'm not talking about the Bigfoot world. I'm talking about the scientific world. Like people who have nothing to do with Bigfoot. It'll
Well,
be
and we'll learn
convincing.
if we get away from the expression advance the science, as far as it being able to learn something from a video, let's say if Joe shot a video like that, the one thing that we need to correct in this community is all these parameters that people have self-placed in their understanding of Sasquatch behavior. How many times do you see comments in groups saying, well, they don't do that. They don't scratch their nose. They only scratch their ear. If they do this, they do that. At least a video that we would say we can't prove that that this is 100% real or not real. But if we lean to the theory that we're subscribing that this is a real subject, we can now learn some behavioral things and start drawing some parameters that make sense. I think those parameters that most of us recognize when it comes to purported Sasquatch behavior is based on the images and the things, the recordings we hear, the things that we see that we subscribe to as likely being real.
Well, I'd like to interject here that you guys seem to be expecting a hell of a lot more out of Joe than you probably could. But if Joe were to actually film something that was like undeniably a Sasquatch, I mean, I said it before and I'll say it again. The first actual person I would contact with it, before I even put it out to the people that have been watching me and stuff like that, who would get to see it. But the first person I would actually go to, of course, I would go to Meldrum and I would be like, hey, look at this, Doc. What do you think I should do with this? Do you know people that can analyze this and verify that I'm not bullshitting here? This is a real video, et cetera, et cetera. I would get it vetted first. And I'm sure that he would probably know anthropologists who aren't in the Bigfoot world or whatever, that kind of thing. I would actually get it vetted first before I ever put it out.
Let me ask you, are you trying to get it vetted so that you could get an endorsement that it is real, or that get it vetted as an endorsement that this is not faked? Because I could see Meldrum looking at a video like that and saying, Joe, there's no way in hell you're going to get me to sign on 100% and say this is real. But I will tell you, here's all the things that I believe could not be faked in this video. That's the best you're going to get out of him. And if you can get that from him, if you could get that from him as it deals with locomotion, if you could show it to High Check or somebody who works in video and say there's no funny business going on with the metadata, and then you have it checked. You're not going to get people saying stamp authentic. They're just all going to do their thing and say, I can't prove that this is a hoax.
Well, that's what I mean. As I would get it vetted as in this video has not been faked in any manner.
Sure.
Not that this video is absolutely a Sasquatch.
I think that's the important thing is we have to vet to show that there was no intentional hoaxing. And when that's done properly, I'd release it to anybody. And the one thing I would not do is ever put myself where I am in a position where I don't have creative control. I'm not signing a contract with anybody that says you have to wait till this point, you have to wait till that point. You'd want to own your footage and be able to show it to who you want to when you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like it has, for me, it has to be in the conclusive. Oh shit, 10% battery, 10% battery remaining, 10% battery remaining. It has to be this kind of conclusive. That thing is this tall, this wide, not wearing clothes, and you start getting into outside human proportions, and like, and even the hoaxed human proportions. But also with that, especially in 22, like to counter the hoaxing human proportions, you have to start getting into like what it is, not what it isn't. So it's kind of a balance. And so a huge thing would be it's not wearing clothes and it's 45 degrees outside and I filmed it for 15 minutes. Like things like that. A thing that a human can't do at those proportions.
Or it's at 13,000 feet and it's moving through 1.5 feet of snow and it's not wearing anything. I mean,
well, yeah, 13,000 feet.
Oh, hell, I've done that before.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a combination of both. And if you can bring that combination to the table and say, it's definitely not a dude, it's definitely not a human, and it fits the Sasquatch phenomena, therefore it is. If it's good enough footage, it actually will be undeniable to most. I think people are way wrong in their misconception of thinking, oh, people who just go blah blah. Well, the reason why people go blah blah is because all they get is blah blah.
So let me ask you this, Pat.
Conclusive.
If Matt would have been on that horseback during the PG event, and he would have pulled out his whatever fancy camera, or you had an iPhone 18, whatever,
right,
8 camera lenses on it. If it had been shot with that type of technology, today's technology, do you think that we'd even be having the conversation of if this thing real or not?
It depends. Some would argue if it was shot with today's technology, it would actually be harder to study. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, dude.
I'd love to ask Matt that question.
Yeah.
If Matt was on that horse with his best camera he's got for that situation and he shot that video, do you think we'd be having a conversation on whether or not this thing's real?
iPhones are not good at any, like, iPhones are great at 6 feet, maybe
Selfies.
12 feet. They're not great at 90 feet, I'll say that. But it was shot on film, and so we're at where we're at, right? So it's an interesting.
See, Matt just answered it. He said, using Patterson's camera, I wouldn't have done much better. With a modern day camera, it would be game over.
Yep. Okay.
He's
And
got a
so
camera
so that's a
much
different
like the
discussion.
one that Patterson used. I saw him unbox it the other day.
Yeah. I mean, that's a different discussion. I mean, and it's a discussion I'd love to have, but we're not going to dive too deep in that tonight because I got 10% battery power.
no, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You got
Would
another
we
5
have to have part 2 over on Western New York
I think
Bigfoot's
we
channel?
might have to have part 2 next week, guys. Are you guys into like picking up where we leave off, or
I don't know if I can think that far ahead. I don't know if I can think that far back either.
well, you know what? Free for alls are always what they are. They're free for alls. They just go where they go. And here's where we're at. We went from Todd Standing to the PG film. You know, it's the same old, same old. Let's get unstuck. Can we get unstuck? I'm
Trying.
gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna go around the horn, and everybody has 1 minute to answer in any way they want to answer. Jeff, can we get unstuck?
Well, I said the other night on your show in a comment that if we could take 10 steps back and look at this and say what isn't working, if we could realistically address what isn't working, we'd quit doing the same shit over and over inside this box that isn't working. That was one of the things that me and Doug had talked about for months before I started doing any research with that area last year was instead of asking what do we want to do, what don't we want to do? And that's what we addressed was all this shit that isn't working, right? And tried to go about a different way. And I think if more people could do that and challenge yourself to be creative and innovative enough not to keep repeating the same stupid shit that isn't producing anything.
Leon, can we get unstuck?
Can we get unstuck? No, I'll follow Jeff's lead a little bit there. We need to take all the evidence, review it again, find out if it's actually evidence to begin with. That'll get us unstuck. But knees have to bend to that, and arrogancy and pride has to be put aside, and the data, and we have to be taken out of the formula. Just look at the data, the information, the so-called evidence, the claims of evidence, and vet it to death to find out if there's an invalidity. If you don't do that, we're going to be here in 45 more years. 100 years, you know, we're still showing the video or the film, you know, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah. Joe, can we get
Well,
unstuck?
yes, we can get unstuck, but I think what we need to do to get unstuck is, well, you know, I mean, of course, talking about all this and the hypotheses of what Bigfoot is and how Bigfoot acts and with all this other stuff is fun to talk about, and it's meat and potatoes for us on the podcast. And it's really fun, but to get unstuck in the actual research investigation area, we need to put all of those hypotheses aside and do what Thomas Steinberg says and put our resource into gathering the data, which first proves that they exist.
And that's getting unstuck. Yeah, I agree. Well said. Well said, guys. Thanks for coming on. Hey, you know what's fun?
What?
Talking about Bigfoot sometimes.
Right.
No, for real. Like, thanks guys for being here. Like, great show. We could
Thanks for
pick
having me
back
on.
up. I mean, I love the free for all. Man, I want to do more call-in shows. I'm all over the place.
I think Joe has a show on Friday, next Friday, don't you, Joe?
Next Friday. Yeah, there'll be a show next Friday.
Nikki demands a body.
Yeah, she's always looking for bodies.
He's always looking for bodies. Bodies hit
She
the
male,
floor.
male hairy bodies. She wants to do a
I think
calendar.
Molly would be the same way, right, Joe? Until
Yeah.
we can analyze this thing's sexual organs, we can't determine whether or not they're real or not.
Oh wow! You know what? Squatchmate predicted that this show tonight, my show tonight, would eventually involve Bigfoot penises, and her prediction was right.
And Jeff brought it up. So
She actually sent me a message saying, "Hey, throw this in at the end so I don't lose this bet."
All right. You know what? I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for being
Good.
here, guys
Yep.
and
Thank you.
gals.
Don Fuller says Mogs is on right now. So we
Well,
might want to
Well,
check
we
that
have to.
out.
You know what? We'll bow out to Mo's then. But I can't talk. I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. We will bow to Mogs, and you guys will all go there and hang out there now, right?
I'm gonna
Be on
go
this show.
eat supper. Is what I'm gonna do.
All right. So, hey, you know what? You know what's coming soon, Leon? The Leon Challenge.
Oh,
I can do
really?
it now. I can finally
Yeah.
do it. I have the capabilities to actually perform the Leon Challenge. I'm going to do it.
Film it.
I'm excited, but not really excited.
I think we're finally talking about something that could advance the science.
There you go.
Not necessarily a Bigfoot, but of, overcoming apprehension, all those different areas of.
Primal. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do it, and I don't know what to expect. I'm like, it's going to be nothing. I'm going to
Be
laugh in
afraid.
Leon's face and say,
Be
Leon,
very
that's nothing,
afraid.
dude. But Leon's already smiling, going,
It's just you. You can't bring the dogs,
Yeah.
nothing. Just
No
you.
guns.
No. Yeah, I'm going to do
No
it
cell
raw.
phone.
I will follow
Talking
the
people.
rules. I will follow the rules of your challenge.
You can
So,
even stay on the road if you want. Just keep walking in the dark.
God,
Thanks, Pat.
This is something I've been saying I'd pay $100 to watch. So I'm excited.
well, you can't watch it because I can't really film it. So
Right.
I might do audio only, like
Do
Yeah.
the audio.
But there's
Or-
nothing.
or
It's going to be completely dark.
if I send you a GoPro, could you just strap it to your chest and just wear it while you
Yeah,
do
just
it?
narrate when you start walking. Say, "Well, I feel okay. I feel okay. Oh, I'm starting to feel a little weird."
I just
Narrate.
I just
See how
pooped
far
a
you make
little
it.
bit. I just pooped a little bit.
Yeah, that it still requires like light for it to be in video form to document.
Oh, just do it audio.
Yeah.
Just do audio and talk. We can hear
I'll
walking.
do some audio. Anyway, Leon Challenge coming. Joe, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Jeff, thanks for dropping in and making your presence known. Appreciate it. Leon, your insight is always welcome. And it was a good free for all Friday. And so I'm gonna wrap it up. Any last thoughts? I'll go around the horn. Jeff?
No, I think it's awesome that Brian took the time to pop on. I think that he did something that me and you had talked about in the past, Pat. I mean, who would you want to have on? Who wouldn't you want to have on? And knee-jerk reaction is, well, I'd never really have him on. But the more you think about it, why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to have a real discussion? I don't, and it's not just him. I think there's several in the community that would fit that description, that if it was somebody that would agree to have a real conversation with you and answer real questions, I think there's a lot of people that on the cuff people would say, I don't care to watch that guy. But if you could, I think it would, there's a lot of people that would make a good show like that.
Agreed. Well said. As always, you're so articulate, Jeff. I love your articulation. Leon, any final thoughts?
Book Club Boys will be interviewing Kathy Strain. That's in 2 weeks.
And Jeff, what you got?
Cracking.
Um,
Cracking. Yeah.
Final thoughts. No, it was great meeting Brian. And I look forward to talking more with him if he wants to. That's great. The guy does a good job. I've been following him for a while now. And to answer Kaiju's question, yeah, I mean, I have Rasta shirts in the store. Right now, I'm having kind of a weird problem with the store. But if you email me and send me your shipping address, I'll send you one, Kaiju. And other than that, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff.
My technology is breaking up.
It is.
I'm getting cold.
Pull up, Pat. Pull up. You're hitting the
He's at 1%.
ground. Too close to the ground. Too close to the ground. Lift.
I'm just gonna do a cold ending once again. I don't get it.
Sounds like you're an old
or
lady.
anything.
Damn it, Jim.
Later, taters.
Later, guys.
We're still live. We're still live. We're still live. Oh no, I can't end the show.
Oh, trying to get out of here.
Uh,
What are you doing? How come it's
In
not
broadcast,
letting